Allow me at the outset to thank the Korean presidency of the Security Council for convening this important meeting, and to thank the OIC countries, members of the Council, for requesting this meeting to highlight the horrific situation in Gaza as world leaders meet here in New York. I also want to thank the high-level representatives participating in this meeting. Allow me to also thank Secretary General Guterres for his relentless efforts and his very moving and inspiring statements in these past 2 days. And through him, we wish to extend Palestine's gratitude to the entire United Nations and its personnel on the ground, with remembrance of those who were killed while trying to save lives in the midst of this genocide. Mr. President, we just adopted a declaration on protection of humanitarian personnel on the North Lawn Sunday afternoon. This Council has adopted resolutions on protection of civilians, including children and women and humanitarians and journalists. In Gaza, not only do they not benefit from protection, they are primary targets of the Israeli onslaught. Mr. President, the Palestinian people have suffered from the denial of their existence for decades. Now, they are being confronted yet again with an attempt to destroy our nation altogether. Recognition of the State of Palestine is an affirmation that the world rejects such denial, rejects the attempts at our destruction, and supports our right to existence, our right to self-determination. And that is not a gift, this is a right, and the Palestinian people have been struggling for almost 100 years for the attainment of such a right. It was not born recently. It is also a clear indication that the international community refuses to abandon the rule of international law and refuses to abandon the two-state solution, the only path to regional peace and security. This recognition is not taking place in a vacuum. It is an integral part of the international mobilization to end this horrific war and move towards peace. The New York Declaration, adopted in the General Assembly by the historic high-level international conference co-chaired by Saudi Arabia and France, charts a clear path to the independence and sovereignty of the State of Palestine, living side by side in peace and security with Israel, based on the relevant UN resolutions. And while all eyes were turned towards New York yesterday, as President Macron took to the podium to announce the historic decision to recognize the State of Palestine alongside other countries, including the United Kingdom, all minds and hearts were turned towards Gaza. Ending the genocide in Gaza is the utmost priority, one that can suffer no delay, one that requires resolute action. Only an immediate ceasefire can save lives, the lives of 2 million Palestinians, children, women, and men, the lives of 20 Israeli hostages. The slaughter must stop. The destruction must stop. The occupation-made famine must be brought to an end without delay. Israel must fully withdraw its forces, and the Palestinian people should have freedom and dignity. We support the mediation efforts by the US, Egypt, and Qatar, and condemn yet again the Israeli strike on the territory of Qatar, a key mediator, as it was convening a meeting to advance a ceasefire agreement and this never-ending regional escalation. Mr. President, nothing justifies delaying such a ceasefire. That is the only way to stop the bloodshed, release the hostages and prisoners and human remains, and allow unhindered humanitarian access. We need decisive actions to deter the prolongation and escalation of this war, and we thank the countries who have undertaken such measures. The Council has a sacred mandate in this regard that it has been prevented from honoring. I thank Algeria and the E10 for relentless efforts and for putting forward last week a draft resolution to yet again pursue such an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, and I thank the 14 members of this Council who supported such a draft resolution that was blocked by a veto. Mr. President, the New York Declaration foresees the deployment of an international stabilization mission upon invitation by Palestine and mandated by the Security Council to protect the Palestinian people, uphold the ceasefire, support the Palestinian National Authority security forces, and provide security guarantees to all. This must be supported. The Gaza Strip must be reunified with the West Bank under the Palestinian Authority as reaffirmed repeatedly by this Council. We call for your support to our policy of one Palestinian state, one Palestinian government, one law, and one gun. The Arab OIC reconstruction plan must be implemented without delay. Our people urgently need recovery, need food, water, medicine, and care, need shelter, need healing. We are ready to work with the international community, with the United Nations, leading humanitarian efforts, including UNRWA, to make this happen. We are ready to work with the U.S. administration. Our President reiterated that yesterday in the General Assembly, and I will not react to the falsification of our record by the new PR, the new ambassador of the United States. We will work with this administration, with Saudi Arabia and regional actors, France and international partners, and the members of this Council to advance these goals for peace. Mr. President, Palestinians are not lesser beings. We are entitled to life and liberty and dignity. The horrors inflicted by Israel upon our people in Gaza can have no justification. Colonization and occupation have no justification. We are not condemned to live under perpetual occupation, nor are Palestinians and Israelis are condemned to perpetual war. We are committed to peace in words and deeds, and we will honor our obligations. But Israel must also be made to respect its obligations. It is not only one-way street. No genocide, no dispossession, no forcible displacement, no colonization, no annexation, no occupation. A change in long overdue and sea change we are seeing across the world in support of Palestinian self-determination and independence, in support of peace and security, must lead to a fundamental change on the ground. Save Gaza, save Palestine, save peace. Thank you, Mr. President.